There is this very specific feeling that I think everyone listening has probably experienced at some point.
Oh, absolutely.
It's that moment when you are standing right on the edge of a decision.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a difficult conversation you need to have, or maybe a project that just feels so massive you can't even see the edges of it.
Or just a chaotic scenario where everything is coming at you all at once.
Right. And in that moment, you basically have two choices.
You can freeze.
Exactly. You can freeze, you can get overwhelmed and just let the chaos wash over you, or you can cut right through it.
And that choice is the absolute core of what we are unpacking in this deep dive.
Welcome back to the deep dive, everyone. We are continuing our journey through Miyamoto Musashi's The Book of Five Rings.
The source material that just keeps giving.
It really does.
Yeah.
So we have done Earth, which was all about the foundation. We have done Water, focusing on flow and adaptability. And now we are dealing with fire.
The fire scroll.
And I have to be completely honest here. When I hear the words the fire scroll, my brain immediately goes to a very specific, almost Hollywood place.
Let me guess. Aggression.
Yeah, aggression, yelling, charging into battle, the whole burn it all down mentality.
Which is such a common interpretation.
Yeah.
But it's also completely wrong.
Really?
Yeah, if you actually look at the text,
Yeah.
and we have a huge stack of notes here from the source material, that is not at all what Musashi is talking about.
Yeah.
If you think fire means rage, you have already lost the battle.
If this episode helps you, please hit like and subscribe for the next one.
Because what we're actually going to learn is how to build the architecture of initiative.
Okay, I like that phrase, the architecture of initiative.
Musashi calls it fighting as fire. But he doesn't mean a wildfire that just randomly destroys a forest.
So what kind of fire is it?
It's directed energy. Think about the difference between a bomb and a laser. A bomb is fire, right?
Yeah.
It's explosive energy, but it is chaotic. It's entirely messy. A laser is also fire. It's pure energy, but it is focused onto a single microscopic point to cut through solid steel.
So the fire scroll is the laser.
Fire is directed energy.
Exactly. It is about absolute clarity, decisive action, and pristine timing. It is the strategy of moving through a world that is actively trying to stop you.
Moving from reacting to commanding.
You got it.
I do want to set the stage carefully here, though, because we always have to be careful when discussing Musashi.
We do.
He was a samurai. His profession involved combat. The literal text is about sword fighting.
Right. It's a martial arts manual on its surface.
But our job in this deep dive is translation. We are not talking about physical harm here. We are not telling anyone to go out and pick a fight.
Please do not do that. This is strictly metaphorical.
We are applying these principles to everyday life. The violence of decision-making, so to speak.
Yes, the internal battles.
The fight against procrastination, against fear, against that sluggish feeling when you just don't know what to do next. There is no physical combat here, only mastery of the self.
Exactly. When Musashi talks about defeating the enemy, for our purposes, the enemy is confusion.
The enemy is hesitation.
The enemy is the stopped mind, that paralysis that keeps you from doing the work you need to do.
All right, so let's get into the plain English translation of this scroll.
Let's do it.
Because Musashi writes in a way that can be, well, it can be very poetic. He says, the spirit of fire is fierce, whether the fire is small or big.
This is the first really crucial concept to grasp. Scale does not matter.
Can you explain that? Because to me, a massive forest fire feels entirely different from a tiny match.
In terms of heat output, sure. But in terms of strategy, the fundamental mindset required to handle a massive crisis, say your entire business is on the verge of collapsing, is the exact same mindset required to handle a small crisis.
Like a tough conversation with a colleague.
Exactly. The nature of the fire doesn't change just because the size does.
That seems counterintuitive, though. I feel like the big crisis inherently needs more panic, or at least more adrenaline.
And that instinct is exactly what destroys people in high-pressure situations. If you bring panic to a big fire, you are quite literally just adding fuel to it.
You make it worse.
Much worse. Musashi argues that you must maintain what we can call calm intensity.
Calm intensity. Those two words feel like opposites.
They do, but think about a trauma surgeon. A patient comes into the emergency room with massive injuries. That is a very big fire.
Right. Pure chaos.
If the surgeon matches that chaos with emotional fire, if they start screaming, throwing scalpels around, panicking, the patient is in serious trouble.
A patient probably doesn't make it.
Right. But on the flip side, if the surgeon is too relaxed, if they are acting like they are just lounging by a pool,
Same result.
exactly, they need intensity. They need to make fast decisions and sharp movements with total focus. But that intensity must be wrapped in absolute calm.
So fire isn't the emotion.
No, fire is the focus.
Okay, so if we distill this, scroll down to 3 core plain English principles, what are we looking at?
The first one is decisive action without recklessness.
Decisive action without recklessness. There is a very thin line there.
There really is.
Because usually when I am being decisive, it's honestly just because I'm impatient. I just want to get the thing over with, so I jump.
But that is not true decisiveness. That is just anxiety masquerading as action.
Ouch. Fair point.
Decisive action means you have evaluated the scenario, you have seen the opening, you calculate the cost, and then you commit completely.
You don't strike the match and then halfway to the candle think, wait, do I really want to light this?
Exactly. You burn, but you do not burn blindly. You move with total commitment once the choice is made.
All right, what is the second principle?
Initiative without ego.
That is a tough one for a lot of people. Because usually people take initiative because they want the credit. They want to be the hero of the office.
And that motivation is exactly why they stumble. If you act primarily because you want to show off, your mind is entirely on yourself.
It's not on the problem.
Right. Musashi teaches that you act because the situation itself demands it. You step into the gap because the gap is there, not because you want a round of applause.
It's about serving the outcome, not the ego. And the third principle,
Timing without rushing.
timing without rushing. We are going to spend a lot of time on this one later.
We have to.
Because in our modern culture, we completely conflate speed with competence. We think if you answer an email in 2 seconds, you're automatically good at your job.
And Musashi would likely say you are just out of time with the situation. Understanding that fast is absolutely not the same thing as timely is crucial.
I want to dive into the actual science of initiative now. The mechanics of it.
The how-to.
Yes. Because it's really easy to just say, be decisive. It is much harder to actually do it when you are staring at a blank document or a complex problem. The notes talk a lot about this concept of starting cleanly.
This is a huge piece of the puzzle, the launch phase.
Why is the start so important?
Because Musashi firmly believes that how you begin a conflict or a project almost always dictates the final result. If you stumble out of the starting gate, you will spend the rest of the engagement just trying to regain your balance.
You're playing catch-up from step 1.
Exactly.
And this brings us to arguably the weirdest phrase in the entire text. I was reading through the notes and I genuinely had to pause.
I know exactly which phrase you mean.
Holding down the pillow.
Holding down the pillow.
It sounds like something you do on a lazy weekend morning.
It does, but I promise you that is not what he means.
I figured. So what does it mean?
It is a translation of a specific idiom. It implies suppressing the head of the opponent the exact second they try to lift it.
Okay, that is a much more intense image.
It is very vivid. Imagine a wrestling match. Your opponent is on the ground. The very moment they tense their neck to lift their head to see where you are, that is the exact moment you push it back down.
You don't wait for them to stand up.
You do not wait for them to get to their knees. You don't wait for them to base out. You address the intent to rise before it becomes an action.
So translating this out of wrestling, this means recognizing a problem and suppressing it before it becomes a full-blown conflict.
You are addressing the intent. You are stopping the momentum before it exists.
Give me a real-world example of holding down the pillow, because it sounds a bit abstract.
Sure. Think about a standard project meeting at work. You are sitting there, and someone makes a very vague comment about the timeline looking a little tight.
Right. Just a passing remark.
Most of us will completely ignore that. We think, well, it'll probably be fine. I don't want to see drama right now.
Let's just keep the meeting moving.
Exactly. But that is letting the pillow lift. The opponent, which in this case is a massive project delay, is lifting its head.
And then a few weeks later, the whole project is derailed and everyone is panicking.
Correct. So holding down the pillow in that scenario means stopping the meeting right then and saying, wait, you just said the timeline is tight. What exactly does that mean? Are we at risk of missing the deadline?
You force the issue.
You address the reality immediately. You suppress the vague problem by forcing clarity onto it.
But isn't that, I don't know, exhausting? I feel like if I did that for every little comment, I would be the most paranoid person in the building.
There is a massive difference between paranoia and clarity.
How so?
Paranoia is inventing problems that do not exist. Clarity is simply recognizing the problems that are actually there, even while they are still tiny.
So don't hallucinate enemies, but don't ignore the ones in the room.
Right, because what is the alternative? The alternative is hesitation. And if there's one thing Musashi hates, it is hesitation.
Hesitation multiplies risk.
Why is hesitation so dangerous in this framework?
Because hesitation is a risk multiplier.
A multiplier, not just addition.
Exactly. If you wait and see, the external problem gets bigger, the pillow lifts higher, but internally, your own mind gets cluttered. This is what the text refers to as the stopped mind.
Stopped mind. I like that phrasing.
Think about a time when you knew you had to have a really difficult conversation, maybe ending a relationship or firing someone.
Oh, the worst.
First moment you realize you have to do it, it is difficult. But let's say you hesitate, you wait a week. What happens in that week? Do you suddenly get more clear?
Not at all. I get incredibly anxious. I start rehearsing fake arguments while I'm driving. My brain just turns into an endless loop.
That is the stopped mind. Your mental energy stops flowing and gets trapped in a cycle of fear. And while you are stuck in that loop, the actual situation is just degrading.
So you have to cut through that loop.
You must act from clarity, not adrenaline.
Act from clarity.
But how do you actually do that? When the adrenaline is flooding your system, how do you find that clarity?
You have to train yourself to distinguish between reacting and responding.
Reacting versus responding.
Reacting is purely biological. It is a panic-based flinch. Someone yells, you yell back. That isn't taking initiative. That is just being a puppet to your nervous system.
Right, it's a reflex.
Responding, on the other hand, is training-based. It means you observe the stimulus, process it, and choose the most effective path forward.
This sounds incredibly similar to the OVLA loop concept.
It is the exact same fundamental principle. Observe, orient, decide, act. The military framework.
Walk us through how that maps to Musashi.
Observe, you see the pillow lifting. Orient, you strip away your denial and realize, okay, this is a real threat to the project. Decide, I am going to speak up right now. Act, you open your mouth and address it.
And the person who cycles through that loop the most efficiently controls the situation.
Yes. Musashi refers to this as ken no sen, taking the initiative. It isn't about blindly charging in. It is about sensing the rhythm of the situation and stepping into the space before the problem can expand.
That word rhythm transitions us perfectly into the next major section of this scroll.
The mystery of timing.
Yes, timing. Because you mentioned earlier that speed is not the same thing as timing. But if I execute that ODA loop incredibly fast, isn't that just speed?
No. And this is the vital nuance that almost everyone misses when they read this text. Musashi explicitly states that speed is not the true way.
Really? He says that directly.
He says, and I paraphrase slightly, speed is only that which is out of time with the situation.
Timing is not speed.
Speed is out of time with the situation. That sounds like a Zen riddle.
Let's ground it with an analogy. Let's talk about running for a train.
Okay, running for a train.
Imagine you need to catch a train. If you run incredibly fast, sprinting as hard as you can, but you leave your house way too early, what happens?
I end up standing on an empty platform waiting.
Right. You were fast, but you wasted all that energy just to hurry up and wait. Now, what if you run incredibly fast, but you leave your house too late?
I watch the doors close and I miss the train.
Exactly. In both cases, you were moving fast. You had great speed, but your timing was entirely disconnected from reality.
Timing is syncing with reality.
Timing is reading the conditions and then moving.
So applying this to a professional setting.
Say you are trying to pitch a new idea to your boss.
Okay.
If you sprint into their office the second you have the idea, interrupting their phone call, you certainly took initiative. You were fast. But are they going to listen?
No, they're going to be annoyed. I moved too early.
You moved too early. You wasted the energy and you revealed your hand before the board was set. But if you wait for the absolutely perfect moment, maybe you wait until the end of the quarter.
Then the budget is already spent. The moment closes.
The opportunity is gone. You moved too late. Timing is about seeing the opening and fitting yourself into it perfectly.
It's not about how fast your muscles move. It's about when you choose to engage them.
Precisely.
I do want to establish some strict guardrails here.
That is very important.
Because I know some highly driven people are listening to this, hearing Fire Scroll, and thinking, amazing, I am going to go absolutely dominate my office tomorrow.
Please do not be that person. That is a fundamental misunderstanding of the text.
So let's clearly define what fire is not. Let's build those guardrails.
Guardrail number 1, initiative is not aggression.
Initiative is not aggression.
Initiative is simply leadership of the self. It's stepping up. Aggression is trying to force other people. Fire in this context is lighting the path not burning the people on it.
Guardrail number 2. Speed is not panic.
Speed is not panic.
If you feel frantic inside, you are not operating in the fire scroll. You are drowning. Fire burns steadily. If you are rushing because you are terrified, that is just fear. If you move swiftly because you see a clear opening, that is fire.
And guardrail number 3, which honestly attacks me personally, timing is not perfectionism.
Oh, this is the ultimate trap for smart people.
Telling yourself, I am just waiting for the right timing, is the single greatest excuse for procrastination ever invented.
It absolutely is. Musashi fought duels on muddy shores with the sun in his eyes against multiple people. The conditions were literally never perfect.
But they were right enough.
Exactly. You cannot wait for perfect conditions to act. You have to act when conditions are viable.
You wait for perfect, you wait forever.
And strategy is the management of risk, not the magical elimination of it. Oh, and guardrail 4. Decisiveness is not stubbornness.
That's a good one.
If a fire runs into a stone wall, it doesn't just stubbornly burn against the stone. It finds a new path. It finds new fuel. You have to adapt.
All right, so to pull this off, to be calm, to have perfect timing, to be decisive but adaptable, it requires a very specific mental state.
It does. Musashi calls it heijōshin.
A heijōshin. The notes translate this as the normal mind.
The normal mind.
Which I have to say sounds incredibly boring. When I read a samurai text, I want to learn of the superhuman warrior mind, not the normal mind.
But the superhuman mind is the normal mind. That is the entire paradox he is trying to teach.
Explain that.
He writes that in strategy, your spiritual bearing should not be any different from your everyday bearing.
Calm mind, swift action.
Meaning I shouldn't have a specific crisis personality.
Right. Think about how you feel sitting on your couch on a quiet evening. You are calm. Your vision is relaxed and wide. You are rational. You can hear the ambient sounds around you.
Sure, my baseline.
Now imagine a pipe suddenly bursts in your kitchen. Water everywhere. What happens?
I immediately tighten up my vision tunnels.
Yeah.
I stop thinking rationally and just start grabbing towels.
You get the lizard brain.
Exactly.
Musashi says true mastery is the ability to take that couch mind, that wide, calm, rational perspective, and carry it directly into the crisis.
Because if you can keep your normal mind while everyone else is losing theirs...
You have an overwhelming advantage. You can see the actual distance of things. You can read the rhythm while everyone else is blinded by panic.
Calm intensity is the fuel.
Yes. Heijōshin aligns your mental energy. It turns the scattered light bulb into the focused laser.
I want to really ground this now. We have been very philosophical, which is great. But let's look at 3 practical, everyday examples.
Let's do it. Work, relationships, and habits.
Perfect. Example 1. Work. Let's call this scenario the zombie meeting.
We have all suffered through a zombie meeting.
You are sitting around a conference table. Everyone is circling a problem endlessly. Someone says, well, our engagement metrics are down, and someone else says, yes, they really are down. And a third person says, we should definitely look into that.
And it just goes in circles for an hour. The pillow has lifted, stood up, and is doing a tap dance on the table.
How do we apply the fire scroll here?
You stop the circling. You have to recognize that the endless circling itself is the enemy in that moment. It is pure confusion. You take the initiative to just cut the knot.
What does that actually sound like in a corporate setting?
It sounds calm and firm. You say, okay, let's pause. We are repeating ourselves. We have 2 potential options right now, A and B. We do not have perfect data, but we need momentum. Let's execute option A for the next week, gather the data, and reconvene to evaluate.
Stop circling. Choose.
You choose a clean next step.
You force momentum. Because even if option A turns out to be wrong, you will discover it's wrong much faster than if you just spend another week talking about it.
Stop circling. Choose. I love that. Okay, example 2. Relationships. The hard conversation.
This is where maintaining that normal mind is absolutely critical.
Scenario. A friend or a partner did something that crossed a line, and you were just sitting there stewing about it.
The fire application here is simple but not easy. Initiate with a calm tone and a clear intention.
Do not wait for them to bring it up.
And definitely do not wait until you are so angry that you explode. If you wait until you are yelling, you are not using the fire scroll. You are just throwing a tantrum.
Right.
You approach them normally. You say, hey, I want to talk about what happened. It upset me, and I want to clear the air.
It's addressing the intent while it is still manageable.
Exactly. No passive aggression, just clear, directed energy.
All right, example 3. Habits. Specifically, the procrastination loop.
The ultimate final boss of everyday life.
Scenario. You have to clean out the spare room. It is a total disaster. There are boxes piled up from 3 years ago. You look at the room, you feel entirely overwhelmed, so you just shut the door and go watch a movie. You are looking at the massive size of the fire you think you need to build, and it paralyzes you.
So what is the fire strategy?
Ignite one small action, just one. Do not think about the entire room. Do not even think about the concept of cleaning. Just think about breaking down one single cardboard box.
Ignite one small action.
Just one box.
Just strike the match. Musashi says spirit can be big or small. You only need a very small fire to start the process. But once you break down that box, you are in motion.
And physics takes over.
Objects in motion tend to stay in motion. Getting started is always the hardest part. The fire scroll is fundamentally about conquering those first few steps.
To help our listeners actually conquer those first few steps, we have structured a guided exercise based on the notes. We are calling it the Fire Start Reset.
It's essentially a mental protocol, a checklist to run through when you feel that heavy, sticky hesitation starting to freeze you up.
Let's actually walk through this live.
Yeah.
Because I have something I am actively avoiding right now.
Oh, perfect. What is it?
I need to draft an outline for a massive presentation next month. A classic high-friction task. Okay, let's run the protocol.
Yeah.
Step 1. Stop and breathe calmly.
Okay. Taking a breath.
The reason we do this is because your mind is currently shouting, huge presentation. We have to find that normal mind first. You cannot act cleanly from a place of dread.
All right. I'm centered.
Step 2. Name the objective in one single sentence.
I need to write the presentation outline.
Too big. That is, looking at the whole messy room. What is the actual immediate objective right this second?
I need to open a document and write the title slide.
Much better. That is a tangible target. Step 3. Identify the smallest action that creates momentum. What is the match strike?
Clicking the software icon to open a blank page.
Perfect. Step 4. Remove one hesitation phrase from your mind. What is the excuse your brain is trying to sell you right now?
It's saying, you need to do more research first. You aren't ready to write.
Acknowledge that voice, recognize it as the pillow trying to lift, and delete it.
Done. Deleted.
Step 5. Choose a steady opening line you can say out loud.
Yeah.
Vocalizing it actually helps commit the mind.
I am opening the document now.
Good. Step 6. Commit to one proof action in this moment.
I will type the working title and save the file.
And finally, step 7. Reset if you wobble.
Reset if you wobble.
Reset if you wobble. What does that look like?
It means if you open the document and then you suddenly check your phone and 10 minutes later you are scrolling, you do not beat yourself up. You do not spiral into feeling like a failure.
You just run the protocol again.
Exactly. Just go back to step 1. Breathe. Name the objective. Strike the match again.
I really like that. It strips the guilt out of it. It's a very resilient approach.
The fire will naturally flicker sometimes.
Yeah.
You just calmly add more kindling.
That actually makes the presentation feel completely manageable.
That is the power of the framework.
Before we move to the recap, I want to quickly cover the common traps. Because even when you know all this theory perfectly, human nature still pulls you into holes.
It certainly does. We have 5 major mistakes people make when trying to apply this scroll.
Mistake number 1. Confusing being busy with taking initiative.
Ugh, the running on a treadmill illusion. People think if they're exhausted at the end of the day, they must have taken initiative.
But they didn't actually go anywhere.
Right. Sending 80 trivial emails isn't fire, it's just smoke. The fix here is to ruthlessly focus on the purpose of your action, not the volume of your activity.
Mistake number 2. Waiting for zero fear before acting.
If you wait for zero fear, you will wait forever. Fear is a constant biological mechanism.
So what is the fix for the fear trap?
You act alongside the fear. You use your calm intensity to direct it. Courage is not the magical absence of fear. It is simply taking action despite it. Let the fear be in the car. Just don't let it touch the steering wheel.
Mistake number 3. Overaggression or trying to force the timing.
This is when you try to kick down a locked door instead of looking for the key. Force often breaks the tool.
The fix.
Read the rhythm. If you are hitting a brick wall over and over, stop, step back, adjust your timing.
Mistake number 4. Letting the pillow lift. Ignoring early warning signs.
This is the, oh, that weird sound in my car engine is probably nothing trap.
We all do that. And the fix is to address problems while they are small.
Yes. Handle the tiny spark so you don't have to fight an inferno later.
And mistake number 5. Losing the normal mind in the heat of the moment.
Letting the crisis dictate your internal emotional state.
And the fix for that is simply to breathe and return to the fire start reset.
Always return to baseline. You can always restart.
We've covered a truly massive amount of ground in this deep dive. Let's recap the core principles before we wrap up.
Let's run through them.
First, fire is decisive action without recklessness. It is controlled, directed energy.
Next, taking initiative means starting cleanly. It requires clearing your mind of hesitation before you move.
Also, holding down the pillow means you address negative intent before it ever becomes a full-blown problem.
Next, remember that timing is about reading the conditions and syncing with reality, not just trying to move as fast as humanly possible.
Calm intensity is your fuel. Fire isn't anger, it is pure focus.
Also, you must guard against confusing speed with panic or confusing decisiveness with pure stubbornness.
And finally, when you stall out, use the fire start reset to regain your momentum.
It truly is a remarkably complete system for moving through the world.
It is. And it sets up our next deep dive perfectly.
Because fire doesn't exist in a vacuum, it interacts with its environment.
Right. Next time, we are moving into the fourth scroll, the wind scroll.
The wind scroll.
Which is fascinating because Musashi spends a lot of the wind scroll observing and critiquing other styles.
Which almost sounds a bit petty at first glance, but I assume there is a larger strategy at play.
Absolutely. While fire is entirely about your own internal initiative, wind is about understanding the external forces. It's about rhythm, disruption, and adaptation.
How to read the room.
Exactly. How do you handle a chaotic environment? How do you understand the styles of the people around you so you can successfully navigate them? Because if you only have fire, but you don't understand the wind.
The wind will just blow your fire out.
Exactly.
I am really looking forward to unpacking that one.
It is going to be a great discussion.
Thanks for being here. If you want the full series, check the playlist, and please like and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. Pass, 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 pass.